Hi, we are Rob and Ali, sharing with you our passion of all things cruise and travel. Today we're bringing you our hot tips of things to consider before you start your cruise. These are mainly for first timers, but
yeah, not necessarily first timers. It could be that you haven't cruised for a while. Let's face it, we've had a little bit of a break for a little bit of a while, and it may be that you just want a refresher, or just want to check that you've not forgotten everything. And this is not an exhaustive list, by the way. These are just, we were thinking about this, what if we were first time cruisers, what would we really need to know? So these are just some of the things that came to mind, and maybe more if there are. Put them in the comments below and let us know, and we'll maybe make a second video.
But whatever, they're hot. Hot tips. First up, most cruisers these days have apps, and the apps are on your phone, and they give you all the information about things like what activities are on every day, what the theme nights are for that day, if you're visiting an island, the time that you will arrive, the time you can disembark and get back on the ship. Whole host of information are on those apps.
Yeah, different apps, different cruise lines apps do different things. Some of them are just information. They range from being able to do absolutely everything on. But the reason why we say do this before is some of the cruise lines will allow you to download the app. You are able to download the app, not will allow. They are able to download the app before you cruise, and it's a great way to get familiar with what's happening on board. Start planning your holiday. Start planning what you're going to do, where you're going to go, which shows you're going to see. What times you're going to eat, because it tells you what the times are. So that app is brilliant for pre-planning, get you all excited, working out what you're going to do and when you're going to do it. And also with some apps you're able to book some of those things, so check that out as well, so that you can already get things booked before you get on the cruise, and you're not going to miss out then.
Another fabulous things about these apps, which is worth checking out beforehand, is you can contact other people in your party. So even Rob and I, who are pretty much joined at the hip, as you know, I like to go one way, he likes to go another way, and we go and do our own things. But unless we've spent out, and sometimes these internet packages can be pretty expensive, so unless you've spent out on those, you can't get in touch with each other in the day. And these ships are huge. You can just get lost, can't you, for days? Wander around for days.
I don't know about days.
Never meet each other. So on these apps, you can actually communicate free of charge and find out what the rest of your party
for the
are
most.
up to.
I think Carnival still charge a nominal fee for theirs, but so it's not necessarily free of charge. But they're developing all the time, and they're changing all the time, and things being added all the time. I believe Virgin Voyages are working on their way to teleport from deck 2 to deck 14. Watch this space. The apps. It's moving forward. It's the way it's going, and they're very, very useful. Let's move on.
Move on. The next things are check your shore tours. So the cruise ships normally have a nice little variety of shore tours available. Different price ranges, different physical abilities of people, whether you do a hard one, hiking and stuff, and skill sets, or whether you've got kids. So a nice little range, but it's not exhaustive, and sometimes you don't actually want to pay cruise prices. So do your homework.
Come on to that in a minute. I just want to say though, if you're looking at those short tours, deciding what to do, YouTube is your friend here. You can almost guarantee there is somebody, including us, that have done some of these short tours and done a video, and you can get a feel for what they're like and whether they're suitable for you. So you can actually get an overview, check it out beforehand, see if it's something you do want to do, because the description isn't always the full tour.
Don't write off some of these places because the shore tours on the ship look too expensive. Others, vice versa, others are really good value, and they get booked up straight away. So don't leave it. Don't think that you can get on board and have your pick.
Yeah, they may well.
The good value ones, they're gone.
Yeah, but I know what you were going to say though. You were going to say some of these shore tours you can actually book locally.
Yes. And
if you do your research, and there's a lot of shore tour companies, you can actually book shore tours locally before you go. And generally speaking, you can get these at a lot better price. I need to say here though, if you book a shore tour privately and it is delayed, or it is late back, or anything goes wrong with it, there's no comeback through the ship. You cannot come back through the ship. And the thing is, if it's late back, the ship will not wait for you. They may, if you keep in touch with them, they may hold off for 10, 15 minutes, but if they don't know where you are, if they don't know when you're coming back, or if you're going to be a long time late, they won't wait for you. So that is a big risk. It is a big risk. Consider that. Because booking through the shore, if you book through the ship, just to qualify that, if you book through the ship, they're guaranteed to wait.
So that private tour has just been sold to the woman in the peach dress.
Look, if you're there for a day,
they're good. Loads of people do them. Don't be that scared. We do.
If you're there for a whole day and you leave at 6 o'clock at night and you do a morning tour that's 3 hours, finishes at 12 o'clock, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to be okay for getting back.
Next on the list is theme nights. Some people love theme nights. Some people, it sends a shudder and they just want to stay in their cabin and avoid all things dressing up.
They're not compulsory though. They are not compulsory. It is your choice.
Yes. Cruise ships have a huge variety these days of different theme nights, and we found that some of them we've got just dressed up and we've joined in, others we haven't. We've never felt out of place doing either way. And sometimes you can get away with just a nod to that theme night. A hat,
absolutely.
Piece of jewellery, something, you don't have to go the full costume, and you just look like you're in the party spirit without spending a load of money or feeling a bit of a fool getting dressed up. Other theme nights are where the crew and the staff, they get dressed up. The kind of, I was going to say memorabilia, but is that what you call it? The kind of the stuff that's decorating, yes, is in the theme. The music might be in the theme. So if there's an ABBA night or something like that, don't think that you have to walk around in your platforms and your flares. It's not that kind of theme. So just check up on them. I
would say two to call out here are P&O are probably the most immersive. P&O theme nights go the whole night, and they have special bands playing in special areas dedicated and photographs, everything. They're probably the most immersive and probably the one that most people take part in. Carnival are more like an hour or two party night later on in the evening. Overall, I would say it's probably 50-50 people dress up. But check out. You can generally find this on the app, or you can generally find through Facebook groups or other. You can find out what your theme nights are going to be. You decide whether you want to dress up. There is no compulsion to. There is generally some kind of elegant or formal, or however they describe it, entirely up to you again. But there may be dress codes in the main dining room and the specialty dining rooms on those nights where you do need to have a certain standard of dress. It's not necessarily dinner suit, but things like they won't let you in shorts or t-shirts or that sort of thing. But you can still go to the other restaurants, the buffet.
That's right.
Yeah. So theme nights, great fun if you want to join in, great fun if you don't want to join in.
Yeah, plenty to do. Facebook, you kind of snuck in about Facebook there.
Certainly did.
You kind of name dropped.
Did you see what I did there?
You did. We kind of had continuity there. So Facebook groups. Whether or not you use Facebook yourself, some people love using Facebook, but it's a good idea to get onto Facebook and see if there are any groups going on the cruise you're looking to book or that you've already booked. Sounds a bit clubby, sounds a bit strange. It's a great way to meet up with people before you get on the cruise ship. Maybe meet up. A lot of the times they will have, apart from just sharing information backwards and forwards.
Sharing information before you go is the big thing, because there will be people who've cruised before, there will be people who've cruised on that cruise line before, and there will be people who have visited those ports before. And there will be a lot of information sharing and a lot of people asking questions and answers that you can get a lot of information for and learn a lot. That's probably the biggest thing about the Facebook groups, but quite often, as I think you're going to say, is there will be a meet and greet that is arranged. Now, the one that we've got coming up, there are two meet and greets. There's a meet and greet for the adults, well, for everybody really, but they're also arranging a meet and greet for the teenagers, so the teenagers can meet and get to know each other on board as well. So if you're travelling with kids, again, another great thing.
When our girls were kind of that teenage age, they probably would have cringed, balked at the idea of going to some of these the club things. But actually, just having a
They loved the
teenage
kids club when they got there, though.
yeah, they did. They loved it. And having a meet and greet beforehand where people can just casually meet and have a drink and talk about, some of the activities they're going to do.
Yeah, especially the later teens.
Yeah, it's great. The other thing about the Facebook page is people can tell you things that are very up to date and very particular for the cruise you're going on. So something like what we found out about a trip we're going to do is there was sort of a charity event where some of the roads would be closed. It'd be difficult to get down to the cruise terminal. That was just somebody notified us on that on Facebook, made a big difference to our plans on our journey. And things like if the car park starts to get booked out, people will give you a little warning and say, do this, or have found a cheaper car park. Worth just checking out. Even if you don't want to contribute, you'll get a lot of information from these groups.
I'm glad you mentioned car parks, because that's one thing I was going to say, especially here in Brisbane. The terminal is a way out. There is one car park, well, it's 3 car parks, but the car parks that are at the terminal are the only ones that are close by. They book up very quickly. So if you're going out of, not necessarily out of Brisbane, but anywhere that you're going out of, and you're taking your car, check out the car parking, book it early. The one at Brisbane, I think, only allows you to book from 3 months out, but get that parking booked. If you don't get a car parking space, there are other alternatives. There's park and shuttles. There's one at the airport. There's one at Hamilton. Just adds a little bit more travel time, a little bit more complexity to your travels. But if they booked up as well, then you're left looking for somewhere to park. So get that out of the way. If you're taking your car, find a car park, book your car park. Same thing with flights as well. If you are booking a flight into your terminal, don't look. It's up to you when you book flights, and it depends on works and everything. But we really would not recommend you book a flight into the city the same day. If something goes wrong with that flight, and we've seen so many horror stories lately, if something goes wrong with that flight, you can miss your cruise. What we did when we went to Melbourne, we actually booked our flight 2 days before, and we spent a couple of days in Melbourne, and we just extended our holiday and made it an extra couple of days.
It was terrific.
And it was good, and with
It
no pressures on getting the cruise ship then.
No, it was great. We got quite a good bargain, and that made it very smooth. Next on the list is check your travel documents. Now, I used to always do this when we had our kind of years gone by doing our travels on aeroplane and things, where I used to check everything. I haven't done it in years because Robert always does it for me. Rob does it for me. So, Rob, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Yeah, look, your big things, I guess, are your passports. If you're doing an international cruise, make sure that you have enough validity when you come back to allow them to let you onto the cruise ship. And generally speaking, say 6 months after your return date. If you've got 6 months on your passport after your return date, you should be okay. If you haven't, make sure you apply for a replacement in plenty of time, because sometimes they can take a long time. Check your check your tickets, make sure all the names are correct, make sure they match your passports.
That's the thing,
Just check your documents and make sure everything on there is correct, and then you can put it on one side, and you make sure you know where it is as well. Last thing you want to do is wake up in the morning and it's like, where's our tickets? But which they can probably do for you at the terminal. But if you've got them all, it's less stress. So check them all out. Make sure that you make sure that everything's correct. And on that, I'm going to mention insurance here actually, because although it's not compulsory, there are some islands and some places which do require it. Now, we would strongly recommend taking out travel insurance. Medicare does not cover you on board for anything. Costs can be very, very high, and if they have to take you off the ship, or if you break a bone or something, we're talking tens and tens of thousands of dollars. Make sure you.
I didn't realise that when you're on one of these little short cruises that just goes up and down the coast of Australia. I said, well, we don't need health insurance. And Robert said, that emergency helicopter you may need. That's coming out of the house. Yes, that's the value of the house. It's you're taking the mortgage out. So
but it's not just medical also. And this is what I was going to say about insurance. As soon as you book your cruise, take out your insurance, because it covers you for your cancellation as well. Now, you have spent hard-earned money on your cruise. If something goes wrong, the last thing you want to do is lose that money. So, and until you take out your insurance, you have no cover. So take out your insurance when you buy your cruise. Done.
Take it out. That's good. Okay. Deviating a little bit from all that kind of thing, but this is just so important. Please remember to take power adapters. It's like buying a new house. There's never enough sockets.
And there might only be one, might only be one Australian, but there might be sort of 4 or 5 US.
These ships come from all over. They're European, they're American. Some of them have the Australian. They've got all sorts of different sockets, and very few of them. Get yourself a power board so that you can put in all your things.
The power board's not necessarily going to help you, and some ships don't allow power boards, so don't worry about the power board. But you've generally got quite a few sockets. But take the adapters. You can either get the ones that are like US to Australian, or they're EU to Australian. But you can also get the ones that are multifunctional. So they come apart and you've got little bits and pieces, and it'll go into a European, or it'll go into a UK, or it'll go into a US. One or two of those, and you're covered.
I gave a very, very strange look here because I didn't know there's not a single ship we've been on that has not allowed us to take a power board on, and we've needed it for all the cameras.
I believe Royal Caribbean don't allow power boards of any type.
Even the non-surge?
And I don't think Cunard do either. None of them will allow surge protected. None of them will allow surge protected. Some of them won't allow any power boards at all. But anyway, check out the rules, check out with the cruise lines. If you can take a power board, that's great. Take a power board. You'll not be able to take a surge protected, but you might be able to take a, what do they call, not surge, a...
Non-surge protected. Not surge protected. And the other thing I would say is a must-have is your USB little kind of power bank then. You can put a lot of USBs in. They're a godsend again, because your watches, telephones, iPads, and cameras
a lot of
are all charged by these things, and some of them have like one in the whole room.
Well, I was going to say, a lot of the cruise ships we've been on recently have had power USB ports. They've been by the side of the bed, or they've been on the desk. But we recently went on the Cunard Queen Elizabeth. Not a single USB port in the entire cabin. None.
So that's one to bear in mind. Next on is, now we do have whole videos on drinks packages. So recommend you have a look at our drinks package. But just a tip here is consider it.
Drinks package link.
I'm going, why is he pointing to my head? Okay, it was the box above, I see. This is just a hint, just to get it into your brain to think about. Consider a drinks package. Drinks package does not always mean alcohol package.
That's true.
Or that you need to drink morning, noon and night to make it worth your while. Check them over. There's varying ones, from non-alcoholic to ones that include coffee to the full works of drinks and wine with your meal.
Yeah, like I said, we've done a separate video, so we'll not cover it too much. But there are different drinks, as you say. There's like coffee or just water package, right the way through to full alcohol package. But the thing to bear in mind also is not just the package; it's the cost of the drinks. So check out the cost. Like Royal Caribbean, especially the cruise ships that use US dollars, with the conversion rates and everything, you can end up, it would add up very quickly. Just watch the video. We'll say no more on it, but have a think about drinks packages.
Another thing, as we said, this is all over the place.
You're
going to have to play this again.
I'm going to hop in here because we're talking about drinks as well. Is if you want to take some of your alcohol aboard, check out with the cruise lines what they will allow. Some cruise lines will not allow anything at all. Carnival, nothing at all. P&O, nothing at all. Anyway, some cruise lines will allow you to take nothing on board. Others will allow you to take maybe a bottle of wine per person, or 2 bottles per cabin if you want to take some wine on to enjoy in your stateroom. We just recently went on Cunard, as I said. They allow you to take any alcohol that you want on board.
We had our own bar in our room.
Yeah, so if you
fantastic.
Yeah, so if you want to take some alcohol on board, check that out. Generally speaking, most cruise lines will actually allow you to take soft drinks of varying quantity. Usually a dozen.
Non-alcoholic beers. Fantastic.
Absolutely, it's not just soft drinks, sorry, non-alcoholic beverages. They will allow you. Generally speaking, it is only if you have them in cans. They won't allow you to take bottles or cartons, because I guess that way they think you might be able to sort of like replace the contents with alcohol. But cans, so if you want to take some soft drinks or some non-alcoholic drinks on board, you should be able to do that. Keep them in your hand luggage.
Yes, keep them in your hand luggage. Okay, so
Carrying
on from that is, I suppose that this looks like it's all over the place, but maybe people see this as the same thing, drink, medications.
I'm trying to keep it on track.
Drinks, medications, you might think it's sort of the same thing.
We're talking about medications now, they're not sort of like Panadol. So.
Yes, so if you are taking medications, prescription medications, make sure you have an adequate amount in case, I don't know, maybe one not gets spoiled, gets wet, or
whole heap of reasons.
It's a whole heap of reasons. You get stuck
Actually,
somewhere
we've been
delayed.
on yes, exactly. I was going to say there have been a few occasions, and we've been on one ourselves where we were actually delayed by 2 days coming back because we went and rescued some yacht. But anyway, we were 2 days delayed coming back. Now, if
Yay, we've got an extended holiday. But
yeah, but if you just take enough medications for your 7 days or whatever it is, and you end up spending 9 days, you're going to run out. So just make sure you've got spares. Is what we're saying.
that's the one. COVID tests. I'm afraid COVID tests are still around. They haven't gone away. So you will need to do a COVID test before you get on board. Don't panic. You do not have to do it in the terminal, in front of staff. You do it about, I think it's up to 24 hours beforehand.
If you do your self-administered RAT, yes, 24 hours, or you can do a PCR, which I think is 48 or maybe 72. I think it's 48.
Is that when you
now.
go to a clinic?
Yeah, and you get the test results. Now, you also have to, you don't take it with you, but you have to show evidence, or you may have to show evidence. They may ask you for it. What they will ask you to do is take a picture of your negative test with a government-issued photo ID and something there which shows the date and time that was taken. Generally speaking, it can be sort of like an iPad or a phone or something that's got that. We generally use another phone, each other's phone. Keep those pictures, and maybe if there's two of you, swap them between your phones so you've each got a copy in case the battery dies or something like that at the terminal. Okay, so some items you cannot take on a cruise ship, so don't bother packing. Don't bother packing them. For example, as we've already mentioned, some won't allow you to take power boards. Some won't allow you to take sort of alcoholic drinks. Irons are definitely a no-no. You cannot take any irons. You cannot take kettles.
You actually cannot take hairdryers on some of these cruise ships.
Royal Caribbean won't let you take a hairdryer.
Your hot drying appliances.
They're generally okay. They're generally okay, but
I couldn't believe it. Kettles I can understand, but you just check out whether you got your hairdryer.
Generally speaking, you will find on the cruise line's website the list of excluded items that will tell you what you can and can't take, and you can make other arrangements.
This little chappie doesn't care whether he's got his heated appliances or hairdryer. It's important for some of us. Okay. I forgot that's what you meant about excluded items. There was also, just to bear in mind, some people, we've talked about the theme nights and getting dressed up. Some people have taken the theme nights sort of to extreme with all the extra accessories and things. Things like plastic knives if you're going to be a pirate on a pirate one, or plastic guns if you're going to do a fancy dress or something.
If you are taking something like that, don't put them in your luggage, put them in your hand luggage and just let them have a look at it on the way in, just to be sure. We took sort of little pirate knives for our pirate pub crawl. Not a problem. They were just plastic bendy knives, but they could be mistaken. They could be excluded. Just put them in your hand luggage and check them out is what we would say.
Mm-hmm. One other thing to bear in mind, this may seem like just a little tiny thing, but it can be inconvenient if you don't do it in advance, and that is printing off your luggage labels. Oh, do you remember the years ago when you used to get them? It come in a little pack with the little, and you put them in your little leather thing to put on your case. These days, just print them off on your printer and just wrap it. You just have to fold them up, don't you, in a particular way and put them on. They don't have any stickies or anything, but you have to put them on. If you don't do them at home or in work, if you've got a works printer, you can get them done at the cruise terminal, but you'll be sent to another little desk and then you have to wait and mess around and stuff. So just to make it nice and simple, print them off at home and you're away to go.
Yeah, you just drop your luggage straight off at the luggage drop then, and away you go into the
You
terminal.
sail through, you've lost your luggage there, it's gone.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. If you are travelling to a different country when you depart from Australia, so this is things like the islands or New Zealand, remember you may need currency. A lot of places take US dollars, some places may take our Australian dollars, or you may get a better deal if you actually invest in the local currency. So it's worth checking out. Obviously, currency is very fluid, very volatile or fluid. I don't know what's the best way to say. Changes all the time anyway. Check it out, see what you get your best deal with. And also just bear in mind, what you're going to buy if you go on to, if you just get off the ship for a few hours. Will you need that currency, or are you intending in kind of buying things and going on trips and stuff, and you might get a good deal doing that. That's, I think, pretty much it.
Yeah, I think we've probably gone. No,
off?
I think we've probably gone over 15 because I added a couple more in there as we went along, but that's okay.
Oh, you've had a bonus then. You've had a sneaky bonus, guys. We didn't even know it. So there you go. Lots and lots of handy hints. Another one. Can I give a bonus one?
Yes.
Okay. We just talked about currency. Please bear in mind that not all ships departing from Australia sort of deal in, that's not the currency of the ship. Some of them are actually in US dollars. So when you're checking your prices or checking the trips that you might want to go on, bear in mind some of them might actually be in US dollars. Makes a big difference. So that was just an extra little bonus there. We have got very active children next door. They're howling away.
It's actually getting louder, so let's finish this up now.
Yes.
If you found this useful, please hit like.
I can talk louder, Robert. I can do it even louder. So, hit like, hit subscribe, hit replay, watch it all over again so you make sure you get those tips in your head.
All the buttons, just hit them all.
Hit everything.
And we will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, thanks for supporting us. Bye for now.
And enjoy that cruise. For first-time travellers, and, well, not just first-time travellers.
No, it's not just...